Justin Fiveash is a local call maker here in Corinth, Mississippi. We carry his calls here at Second Amendment. We're going to see how he's doing with his calls, where he started at, where he's progressing to, and how he's made his steps to where he is today. So stay tuned. Stick with us.
Hey y'all, welcome to Caliber's Aerospine and Tackle, better known as CAST, brought to you by Second Amendment Outdoors in Corinth, Mississippi. In this podcast, we sit down with influential voices from the outdoor industry to bring you authentic conversations that connect sportsmen of all seasons. From bow hunting for whitetail to crappie fishing on the lake, spring turkey hunting to chasing rabbit and squirrel, we cover it all. Our focus is on real people sharing real stories about conservation. We can't wait to join you on this journey and dive into the world of the outdoors together.
So, you ready to do an intro?
Let me get my hat fixed. I'm going to look pretty.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Kevin at Second Amendment. Caliber Aerospine and Tackle. So we're here with Justin Fiveash from Fiveash Call, and he's right here, Corinth, Mississippi. We carry his calls here at Second Amendment. Like I told you, we like to support our local outdoorsmen and outdoor industry. So we brought Justin in. He's going to tell us about his calls a bit. I've seen a bunch of them here. I know Justin personally, so you're going to see us kind of banter back and forth. He's going to tell us about his calls. We're going to find out where he started, and that's where we're going to start out. So
sounds good.
You've been doing this how many years now?
16.
16 years?
Yeah.
And like we were talking, you started out doing single calls, handing them out, just kind of as fun.
Handing them out fun, yeah.
And then turned it into a business.
Well, I still wouldn't call it a business. It's a
hobby.
It's a hobby that makes money to keep my hobby going.
There you go. That's the best.
So really,
those are the best hobbies.
Yeah. So when I make calls and sell them to people, I turn around and put that money. It's not like I'm gonna go on a hunting trip. No, I don't do that. I work a job.
Yeah.
I work 8 to 5. So.
But then also, you make a nice call.
Oh yeah.
And
take pride in it.
But then you sell a nice call, and you can take that and make something nicer, right? And you reinvest a lot of it into your business.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I recently got a laser engraver, and that's how I do all that stuff myself.
All right.
I was having to, like, if I wanted something on my slates and stuff, I would say, I had a guy in Pennsylvania that was providing my slate, and I would message him and say, hey, can we get this on there? And I'd send him the picture, and so he put my logo on it. So.
All right.
And my wife done my logo. That's what's on my hat.
Yeah?
Yeah. I told her I needed, it was, I don't know how many years ago, but anyway, I told her, I said, I need a logo. She said, okay, well, I'll draw you something. And, of course, it's on there.
Yeah.
She drew that for me, and I fell in love with it and stuck with it.
You'll see on all the Fiveash calls, there's the logo. You got a Fiveash call hat?
That's right.
Okay, good.
I sell hats, too. I'm having some made. I usually make about a dozen a year. And when I run out, I run out. I don't try to. That's another thing. I mean, you can do the questions on that or whatever, but I try not to think of it as making money.
No.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I started out, was like, I'm going to make some money at this. And then realized that if I try to make it into money or make it about making money, took all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So I just do it. And I'm pretty passionate about it. And if it don't sound right, I won't sell it to nobody.
No.
If it don't turn out right, I don't chunk it. It's like some people saying, I see some mean comments on TikTok and stuff. Somebody's playing a call, somehow comment, needs a little more pitch in it. Pitch it in the woods or pitch it in the garbage. And I'm like, but I feel that way on my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I make something, it don't sound just right to me.
But the other thing is you're listening on a speaker on a device that is electronic.
And sometimes they're inside calling, sometimes I'm inside, doing a sound file. Trying to let somebody hear what it sounds like. But yeah, if it don't suit my ears.
But it's basically going to sound completely different when you're outside in the woods anyway.
When it's casting that sound, yeah.
Yeah, because when people come back here and make a call, you get the echo in this building or even out at the front counter.
And the audio is not,
No, speakers on phones.
It's not in its natural setting.
No, that's it. Yeah, and the natural tone is completely different.
So that's why I did I think I've done a TikTok video on me just calling out in the woods. I wouldn't run one of the mouth calls.
Now, are you running one of these mouth
Yes,
calls?
I was running my real deal. That's the first. So that's the first one I started making when I finally got a press. I started making them probably 16 years ago, and so I always bought Primo's calls. I was a big Primo's fan. Bought the Primo's calls, and I'd buy them at Walmart. I mean, my trip to Walmart.
Yeah, I had all the white cases from Primo's.
Anything they put out, yes.
Or the Real Tree or Bone Collector sets. I had those. And
so the biggest thing is I thought to myself, why am I spending? And mouth calls were cheap then.
Yeah.
It was like $2 or $3 for a mouth call, but it wouldn't last a season.
No.
And I got to wondering, and I always like to know how things are made and how they're built. And I was like, to me, I'm like, well, somebody's making these, so why can't I make them? Where are they getting their stuff? So I started digging. Where do you buy supplies? How do you make mouth calls? Yada yada yada. And dug into it, talked to a few people, and anyway, found me a supplier.
It's the real deal.
And found me a supplier. I used to make them orange. They were orange and green. So I bought my supplies, and I was like, well, where do I get a jig?
Mama said.
Yeah. And I was like, where do I get a jig? I didn't know anything about getting a jig. And I come across it on the internet. Somebody was selling, it was called the Perfect Mouth Call.
Okay.
Jig. And I was like, and it was machined. And so you'd make them one at a time, and it took maybe 5 minutes to make a call. I don't know if it took that long, but they gave you the latex with it and a few frames, like 10 frames. You can make your own call, pull on, stretch. It had a little thing where a bar, when you pushed it down, it would stretch the latex across it, which you could stack them however you wanted. But it would pull your latex, and you stick your frame and crimp it and all that stuff. And it was just I wish I'd have brought it with me. And I said, I can build something better than that. So I took some, I can't remember what the plastic blocks are called, but they use that Caterpillar to slide heads on and stuff. It's big, thick plastic stuff. So I found some blocks of it from a buddy, and I cut it and run bolts in it where it would slide back and forth. And got some clipboard clips at Walmart, the magnet ones you stick on the fridge.
Okay.
And built me 2 things to hold my latex down. So it slid together, and then I run a bolt through the center of it and made a block that set in it. And when I'd lay my latex in there, after I'd stack it, I'd clamp it down flat, and then I'd put turns in it, and it would start separating. Okay. Then the block would fall out. I'd drop my frame on there, crimp it. So I made my own.
Right.
Like I said, I wish I'd brought it with me.
And that was still one call at a time, right?
And I got to where I could build in an hour. I could probably build start to finish, I don't know, 10 or 15 calls.
Okay.
And then fast forward to the future, which I was making a good call, and I started making my own cuts and stuff. That was pretty cool too, because I wanted a raspy call, real raspy. And so, like I said,
something like that raspy old hen.
Yes.
Okay.
So 16, and that was the thing about the reason I want to back up, because the reason I wanted to build my own calls is because nothing I got would ever last.
Yeah.
And if it did break, it was a call that I liked, and they don't make them no more. They quit making those, or hard to find, stuff like that.
Right.
So fast forward from me making them by hand, which I've been selling them. I put them in a little baggie, and, staple a card to the back of them, and I'd sell them like that. And I want to say probably 7 years ago, I finally got a press.
Okay.
And that was like a $1,500 investment. So that was, to me.
Now, how long were you doing it with the block and stuff like that?
Minus 7 years. So 16 minus 7.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I had people wanting them, especially your friends and stuff. And you give a lot away.
Right.
You start out giving a lot away, and you think, well, I'm on my way. But when I started trying to do it, like I said, for money, I was like, well, I'm going to make some money at this. I won't have to work a real job. Of course, I'm a mechanic by default, whatever you want to call that. Because my granddaddy run a shop, and then I just went to work with him. But anyway, getting off subject. So it wouldn't have, I knew that if it became about the money,
It wouldn't be any.
It wouldn't be any fun.
No.
Because taxidermy was that way. I done it for I know 16 years before this.
And
I done it out of high school.
Work.
And when it was fun when I was doing my friends, here, making a couple $100 here and there. And then when you started taking on jobs, you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then your life stops being about going hunting and fishing, and it starts being about being in the shop working all the time. Just imagine it's like that on bows and stuff. People probably think you just live it up and,
Yeah, I don't get to hunt as much when bow season hits.
Yeah, you got to work.
I'm working because I'm sitting here putting strings and peeps and getting everybody set up and new arrows and broadheads and tuning, and because everybody's ready for hunting.
That's
and then the first 2 weeks is when they blow everything up, when they dry fire their bow, and so we're working.
Or they missed a deer. Let's work on that.
And I can understand that.
Yep.
And we got here the real deal.
So that's when I realized. So this call is when I realized I've hit the sound I wanted.
Yeah.
When I finally got a press, and started pressing them out instead of doing them on a little jig. I stretched and stretched. I bet I made 50 calls before I got the right latex stack, the right stretch. Of course, this takes time of writing it down, saying, I pulled it to this or whatever. And it's got a gauge on it. So that's how I can make them consistent.
Yep.
When I hit it, of course, you have to test those.
Yeah.
And people make fun when you're building, are you testing every one of these? No.
Yeah, because you got it in your mouth.
Got it in your mouth.
How many read?
It's 3 read. All my calls are 3 read. So I'm a big fan of Shane Simpson.
Okay.
And what he does, he has a thing on YouTube. It's mouth call mechanics. Because people come to me and they say, when they buy a call, what do I need to do to run this? What kind of sounds do I make? And yes, I had to learn too. Mm-hmm. I learned on a Primo CD in my truck on a Pioneer radio.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And just stuck it in and went to making sounds. Anyway, Shane Simpson. On his YouTube channel, he has mouth call mechanics, and it explains it. And if people watch that, they'll see the reason I do a 3 read stack.
Okay.
Is because you want that, it's high, low. It's a rollover.
Okay.
So you got that squeal and your top read. So one of them's for backbone, one of them's to give you that squeal, and then the top cut is your rasp. That's where you get that flop or that roll over.
Where you get the noise.
Yep. And it's all how to control your tongue.
Kind of at the end of your call where you get that good purr or that good raspy sound when you're calling out.
And so the cuts in them, a lot of people ask me, well, what cut would you go with? The reason I make a right combo cut, or this is just considered a combo cut because it's on the right, and a bat wing and a ghost cut. And so the names are so this is a ghost cut, so I named it the Soulmate.
Okay.
Because it's a ghost cut call.
All right. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Real deal.
It's the real deal.
When I hit it, I sold this one for, I think, a year or 2 before I started anything else.
Okay.
But this one is just, you have those days, Mama said.
Yep.
There'll be days like this. So we come up with that. And my friend Jerry, he helped me out on that. So you have, when you do a channel of air, when you're calling on a mouth call, you have a channel of air, you have a center, right, left, and everybody's different. Mm-hmm. And some people can do all, can run any call. Your ghost cut's better for somebody that's got a channel, when they channel their air, center of their tongue. Okay. You're going to run a ghost cut pretty good. You normally run any of these pretty good, but, so there's a right, or a right, left, and center, or right, left, center. Mm-hmm. And so wherever your channel of air is what call you'll run a little better.
Yeah. Okay.
So somebody with a right channel of air?
I'm a right channel of air.
You can run a combo cut.
I listened to probably the same CD.
Yep.
My stepdad and his friend were huge turkey hunters. And I spent a lot of time out there listening to them, and they actually have watched me call and have been like, hey, do this instead. And, because they've been doing it for so long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I listened to the same Primo CD that came with the box set. Yeah, I had that. I appreciate these calls a lot more now. Previously, I was the Walmart Primos person that bought them there because they were easy to get and stuff like that. And then as I've started to meet, you and some of the other local people that currently make calls, I have gained so much more respect for that. I mean, I've actually gone out and thrown all my Primos out. Not saying Primos isn't good.
Yeah,
they're still good.
Yeah.
But
to each their own.
I kept the white box because I've replaced them with calls from people that have made slight adjustments to them. And I've noticed that I can call better.
Everybody
on
put
them.
their own secret sauce in it.
Yeah.
It's like what they wanted. Like I put what I wanted from the call in my call. And there was a lot of other people out there that wanted the same thing.
Right.
So, and this goes back to different strokes, different folks.
Yep.
So it's whatever you like and whatever fits you. Got with a guy, I sent him some calls to try out and wanted his, he's a TikToker. Sent them to him and so the tape on them.
Yep.
My cut's big for him. So he needed a shorter cut. Well, he made his own jig out of a piece of a metal that matches his other calls that he runs good.
Right.
And he trims them off.
Okay.
So, and another thing is a lot of people get a mouth call and they put them in and they're tight and it's hard to blow, and mouth calls take break-in time.
Yeah.
So like, I'd say if you're starting season, a week before season, get that call out, ride in the truck, break it in. Oh, yeah. And the more I will say mine are stretched a little tighter than most on purpose. They're tough to work with. Not tough to work with. It's just a little more pressure, a little more air. But the more you break it in, the better it sounds.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted out of a call because, like I said, the store-bought calls at Walmart, whoever was selling them, you'd buy those and run them, and by the time season, they said it's like a squeak toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too. So, and then you try putting them in the fridge for the next season. You pull them out, and they're just mush.
Garbage.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that.
But now that may have been a way to get people to buy more calls.
That I was going to say. It was buy the new ones, the latest, greatest, move forward. Also, you're not keeping a call for a really long time. I know I've started a lot before season. I'll put one in my cheek and walk around with it and make some calling, and then I'll put it back in my cheek just to keep it warm and, kind of break it in and start, just walking around. Every now and then my wife will look over at me and she's like, "Do you have your call in your mouth?" And I'll be like, "Nope." And then I'll make a couple of calls and she's like, "I knew it."
Yeah.
And,
Which they do come, your latex is powdered, to keep it from sticking and stuff. So that's part of it. You need to get that off there and run it a while. And
Okay, I have a silly question. A friend of mine uses those toothpick brushes, and he puts them in between his reeds before he stores them after season.
So that's a good thing to. And me being able to make my own call, I will say that I'm on the wasteful end. I have run a call, and when I first started doing them on the press, I kept up with a call for 3 years in my vest. I didn't do anything about putting it in a case or nothing. I just wanted to see how long it'd last.
Right.
And every now and then when I'd post something on Facebook, I'd be like, "Let's see how the call's doing." I'd pull it out of my vest. Of course, you have to take and separate the reeds on it and wet them, and it still called just fine. So I wanted to see how long one would last without doing anything to it.
Okay.
Just, kind of like people that throw them in their cup holder in their truck. That kind of stuff, just abusing them. But I was putting it in my vest, and my vest does sit in my truck most during turkey season. And I was surprised that it lasted 3 years because I'd get it every time turkey season would start. I'd be like, "Oh, let's check on the call," when I do a Facebook video.
If somebody has a really good call that they like, do you suggest that? Putting like a toothpick or
So my brother-in-law,
something like that?
I can't get him to buy any more calls from me.
Because he takes such good care of them.
Because every year he takes them out, he rinses them.
Yep.
He does the Listerine rinse on them.
Okay.
And then he's got a little case he puts them in, and he does the toothpick. He breaks off little pieces of toothpick. I seen the flossers, the plastic ones.
Yes.
That's a better idea than the wood. But anyway, he sticks them in there and does that and puts them in the fridge, back of the fridge. And like I said, I can't get him to buy another one.
Yeah.
Because he's still running the ones I've given him.
On the older fridges has that butter door right there.
Oh, yeah.
I usually got 2 cases right there. Yep. That's where they sit. My wife has noticed that it doesn't, she can put her butter in there and the cases still fit too, so she doesn't have to worry about.
Just as long as the calls don't get over on the butter.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
So not only with mouth calls, but we're also talking about
friction calls. So I haven't started building box calls. The only reason I haven't started building box calls or owl call, like locator calls, owl, crow calls, because I hadn't perfected any of them yet.
Okay.
So
it's not like you're not working on them. It's just you haven't found the right
once
yet.
I make it sound the way I want it to sound, that's something I'll start producing. Just like one of these calls, any of these calls here, which is crystal over slate. Also, I want to throw this out there. Any of my calls that if they ever stop sounding like they should, or you break the glass in them, you just get with me and I'll replace them.
All right, so just let you know.
Call breaks, whatever, I'll fix them.
Okay.
So it's not.
So it's
I hate
almost
to,
like
I
it
hate to
has
say a
a
lifetime
warranty
but it does.
on it.
I'm going to work something out.
I wouldn't say guarantee. I would say more of a warranty because.
I mean, if somebody says, "Well, my kid threw my call down and stomped it,"
that's this.
I feel bad for you, and I'd still probably work.
We'll
I'm
work
just that
with
kind
you.
of guy.
Yeah,
I'd
we'll
work
work
with
with you.
somebody. Yeah, but yeah. So
I'll show that camera to the camera right there. That's a pretty good looking call.
So this is stained poplar.
Okay.
Yeah, iron. I think it's called iron stained poplar, and it's real nice wood to work with. I'll play it if you want me to.
Sure, absolutely. What kind of striker is that?
So this is a diamond wood striker. I've got to where I use all diamond wood strikers. So as my dowels, and the tops can be whatever I want them to be. But standard is poplar.
Okay.
So I don't care to tell my secrets. I go to Lowe's and buy a poplar dowel, and I cut them to size.
And turn them, huh?
I drill them, glue them up, and they set overnight or 2 days or whenever I get to them, and then I'll set and stick them in my lathe. I have no jig to go by. I've just done enough of them.
Yeah.
That
they're pretty darn close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can tell some of them's a little fatter than other ones.
Now, if somebody wanted to make some kind of custom handle, some kind of turn, like a fatter dowel or a skinnier one, they could talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
and
cool.
like this cedar call. Let me just lay this down a minute. Like this cedar call here, it's sold, by the way. But I made a striker to match it.
Okay.
So that's a cedar
All right.
striker
I see that. Yeah.
to match this call.
Sounds really good.
Sweet little call. And like I said, I've put my money back into buying stuff to help me build stuff. Tools. You have tools that wear out. You got to buy more tools. And,
Right.
Better things for my lathe. You know, I'm sure my lathe will run out one day, and I'll have to buy a new lathe or wear out. I didn't mean run out.
And then of course it'll be an upgrade.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level.
That's right.
You know. Yeah.
So, yes, I enjoy doing my custom stuff. Now, this pot here is one that I can order. Anybody can get online and order from a call supply.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a standard cherry pot. But I say standard, it's actually a double-sided because it's got, for like your quiet side, that's your close range.
Yeah.
And
to reach out there a little bit more.
so I do like a double-sided pot, and I have turned some custom double-sided pots, but they've
Really
also
cool that
got
all of them come in the bag. So I noticed that with every one of your pots, I see one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And every pot comes in one of these?
every one of them.
Even the standard and all the
Custom.
custom?
Yes. I also can show you the reason. One reason is to keep the call safe. It's not a whole lot of protection, but you put the call in, and you think, well, what am I going to do with my striker? And I see people put them in like this. Well, that leaves the top hanging out.
Uh-huh.
But I'll make it to where you can put the striker down in it, behind it, and then it locks it,
All right, yeah.
So, and then a lot of people, when they try to pull them out, they're like, why can't I get that striker out? Well, if you just push backwards on it, it's loosening.
Okay.
So that's part of the thinking. I do a lot of thinking when I do stuff like that. So.
And I noticed the Fiveash on it with the blue.
Mm-hmm.
I like the blue.
Screened.
Yep. And I noticed we went with the blue on.
Oh, yeah. Blue.
So.
Royalty.
Yep.
Honesty and royalty.
Yes. So. And you said your wife drew the logo?
My wife came up with a logo. Yeah, she actually drew it on an iPad. I forget what kind of app it was, but
Yeah, that's
she was
cool.
laying in bed. She said, "I'll come up with something," and she's like, really. So I think she started out in college as an art major. She was going to art major, change the plans in life. You know how life goes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so she drew it
So
up and
push that behind.
I fell in love with it. And
That one came from here, right?
yeah, it really doesn't matter. That's another thing about my these strikers will run on nearly any call.
Oh, you want one with the bottomland sticker?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So that's just part of me putting something in there extra, you know.
Yep. And then, of course, I see you got your little cleaning stuff in there, and that's good. You know, it's nice
Well,
to
I
see
usually
that it's
put a
not
little
just-
scratcher in there.
Yep.
I will show you this, though, because I recommend everybody, and I hate to do a plug, but Primo's makes these
Yes.
sticks. That's the best thing to have. I forget what they're even called. A slick stick, maybe that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Because you've got your Brillo pad in there, whatever
Yep.
you call this, and you chalk for box
Yeah.
calls. So
Yeah, I see the scratchers out of the...
yeah, so I try to throw a piece of like 60 grit, you know,
Yeah.
in there for scratching them up, which you really don't need on a slate call. You need it more on crystal.
All right, yeah.
Like this call here, that's why I love this stone on this, because on crystal calls, and you don't do this in the turkey woods.
No.
You
this
try to
is-
prep your stuff.
This
you
is
know?
pre-preparing, yeah.
But yeah, you want to scratch it up good, which some people will lay it down and do it like this, but back and forth straight on a crystal call, and don't blow it off. You want that dust on there. And that way, and then it's got the little, which I modified mine, but it's got a little thing in there where you can twist your.
All right, yeah.
That's why I like these so much. That's a genius deal. And I recommend everybody buy one if you're going to run.
They definitely probably got it patented.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
by now, for sure.
See, that's a lot. That's a louder call, a crystal call.
Yeah, that slate is loud.
Especially when
yeah.
you get it outside. And another thing, a lot of people don't know, they say, well, it's a glass. It's glass over slate. So, and that has a lot to do with sound. Your soundboard's underneath your playing surface.
Okay.
And it depends on what you have under it and the depth of it. And that's another thing I'll get into. I've got a jig built that I built myself when I figured out the depth I wanted. So if anybody ever watches my Facebook Live, they'll see me. I got a little copper wire wrapped around 2 pieces of tin. It's the only one I've got made, and I need to make another one, but I keep it hung in my shop. And when I'm checking my depth, I'll stop my lathe, and it's just a little piece of tin that I've got cut out in
So
two shapes.
you've made your own feeler gauge.
Yes,
Yeah.
a feeler gauge,
Yep.
yeah. And I've only got one of them, so
Yeah,
I think I need to make another.
I think we need to
make another one and
let
put
him
it
know
up.
that he needs to make another one.
So, yes, the depth and playing surfaces matter. Wood, I would say different wood does give a different sound because it's got to resonate off it too. But I think the biggest thing is your height or depth of your soundboard and your playing surface.
Okay.
So if you get them too close, you're going to get a higher pitch sound. And it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like backing off of a mic.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if you ever took as a kid, like on a Coke can, you hum on it.
Yeah.
You know, if you back it up, you can feel it
Yeah.
vibrate, stuff like that. And that's where you get into sounds. That's a whole,
It changes the pitch,
Yes,
changes
yes.
the depth, and okay.
But glass,
I get
people
that.
say, oh, it's a glass call. Yes, it's a glass call, but it's a crystal call. And a lot of people think there's some that are plastic made, or it's acrylic.
Okay.
You can get an acrylic top call, and people get confused in that. So a crystal call is actually glass with lead in it, just like fine crystal.
Okay. Yeah.
So the difference between glass and crystal is lead.
All right.
Crystal has lead infused into glass.
No licking your calls. Don't lick your call.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. So I try to tell everybody that. So that's why I go with crystal. Is because I like a high. That's what I run in my vest. I actually have a slate call. The ones I hunt with are plastic pots.
Okay.
I ordered some plastic pots, made my own calls, just to throw in my vest. It's not that I wouldn't use any of these, but it's hard to take one of these and wear it out and then try to sell it to somebody, because some people collect them. Some people put them up. They kill a turkey with them. Hey, make a mark on it, give it to their kid, pass it on.
Okay.
A custom call. So, I mean, and the price I put on them, it has nothing to do with, well, I'm special and this is,
Right.
this is a special call and it's a high price call. It has to do with not quantity, but quality.
Right.
So yeah,
The amount of work that goes into it.
too. Yeah, which
Then-
a lot of people get on to me. They're like, hey, man, well, you got to charge for your time, but I don't think of it like that.
Yeah.
Even when I done taxidermy work, I never charged for my time. And I said, this is my set price. I need this, and when you pick it up, I need this.
Right.
And I didn't think about my time, but time is money.
Yep.
But I'm not. We start making it about money, then we
It's
stop.
no
we lose
longer
the interest.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So
Yeah.
And I will say all this turkey hunting, turkey calls goes back to my daddy. I always looked up to him because it seemed like when I wasn't old enough to go, he was always coming out of the woods with, whether it's deer, turkey,
Yep.
he always had something. So every evening he'd come home, we'd be looking for him, Oh, here he is, he's got something. We know he's got something.
Yep.
So first thing you do is run out to the truck. Of course, aunts, uncles, whoever, come check it out too.
Right.
So he was known for slipping off and killing animals that nobody ever knew was around. They're like, well, I didn't know there was a deer that big over there, or
Right.
a turkey with a beard like that, or that big of a turkey, or. So he was I remember, I want to share this story. We were squirrel hunting one time, and he told me, which I was young, I'm sure I was getting on his nerves or whatever, loud in the woods.
As a kid, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
And I remember he set me down with my gun under a tree, and I'm because I was a kid, so I may not be getting all this, but I remember sitting under that tree, and it seemed like he went down in a holler. He said, "I'll be right back," and he just made a loop, and you hear a shot every now and then. I didn't think nothing about it. We was in the woods. You hear shots all the time, and he comes back, maybe an hour or so later. He goes, "All right, let's go." And I tag along with him. And then I didn't think nothing about it, but he had a pack full of squirrels.
Yeah.
So he took me hunting with him, but he done better by himself. He always hunted better slipped around, hunted better by himself. And I always looked up to him for that. And he made turkey hunting easy. It seemed like it was easy. Everybody was like, "What do you do?" It was always, he was kind of, to me, he was the turkey man. He was, how you do this. And there wasn't a whole lot of people back then that turkey hunted like there is now.
But he was an excellent woodsman.
Yes.
That's what it was. He was
That's
just an excellent woodsman. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I remember him telling me stories like in the 80s here in Alcorn County, you could forget deer hunting or turkey. If you seen a turkey or deer, it was something in Alcorn County. They all had to go to Benton County, Marshall County, that way and hunt.
See, I will say there are a lot of hunters.
Oh, yeah.
There's not as many woodsmen.
That's true.
There's not.
That's true.
It takes a lot of dedication to get, spend that time out there,
Learning.
get that comfortable, and be, and be a scholar of the game, basically. So, talking about woodsmen versus hunters. So, a lot of hunters, I notice, will get out there, they'll pound the ground, drop some pins on onyx and stuff like that, and then put it under lock and key.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh, if I don't have this place, I got this place to go to.
Right.
And they're just hopping one spot to the next, checking.
Right.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
nobody's sharing information.
Yep, definitely.
And I'm not telling you to tell everybody your hot spot.
Yeah.
That's not what you need to do, but,
But more about being a woodsman is sharing with your youth, saying, hey, this is how we do this. Like,
Right.
I remember, so I'm going to use this. My dad would take me hunting with him, deer hunting, and he'd say, you see that? And it would be a scrape.
right.
Then I didn't know what it was. And he'd tell me why a deer done that. Or a rub. Oh, and rub lines. I mean, I never would have known anything about this.
I stepped over this spot in the leaves.
Yeah.
And, hey, that's a dusting.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? That's a dusting.
Yeah,
That's
dusting
where
for turkeys.
turkey
Yeah.
laid and dusted. I'm like, oh, okay.
So we didn't have, another thing is we didn't have the whole YouTube, look it up on Google.
Right.
We didn't grow up with that. So I had my
We
dad.
had to learn from our elder statesmen.
There wasn't any hunting public to watch and
No.
learn from, which I like what they're doing. They are teaching people how to hunt and showing them, hey, you don't have to have millions of dollars.
No, you don't have to have large tracts of property
or
to go out and
nice
do this.
or nice equipment.
No,
you know?
and there's property everywhere in every state for you to go out and do this. I mean, it's everywhere. You just gotta do some research. You gotta pound the ground. You gotta kind of get out there and do it.
So I think more of a woodsman is somebody who will share information
Right.
instead of just going to kill stuff and say, hey, look here, I'm a hunter. Look what I killed.
Right.
Look what I killed.
Right.
I can kill the biggest. I can kill the.
Right.
Just hunt, have fun. My dad said it. I think I've told you this before. We was going somewhere turkey hunting, and he just happened to look over at me, and he said, I wish it'd go back to being fun hunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. He said, it's all competitive. Everybody wants to do something better than somebody else. It needs to be more about fun. It used to be fun.
I'll tell you, with my turkey hunting, my wife has never really turkey hunted. And she's out there with her crossbow, and she's got her rifle, and we do some hunting. But to turkey hunt with her, we went out after a bird one day. It was her first time she's ever heard a gobbler, like, letting loose and drumming right there in the woods. And she's like, he's on top of us. I know, he's like 80 yards away. It's still,
Just because you can hear him.
But it was a good time. We got busted. We got busted by a hen, but we had a whole bunch of hens fighting with us, and I was making calls out, and we were back and forth. And
that's the fun part of it.
I had him coming in, and I had more fun being there and sharing that with someone than actually harvesting that turkey.
So me and my cousins were the same way. I think I told you the other day that we used to try to tote around these big VHS cameras and try to figure out a way to get them in a tree to we can video this stuff, because we were having fun hunting together, cutting up, and laughing. We didn't care if we killed anything or not, but we would come back to tell everybody, oh, we went hunting.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, oh, we went killing.
Right.
We were hunting. We were having a good time.
If you guys hear the noise, it's the construction going on out back. We're building an expansion in the back, so you'll probably hear some of I think they're banging out the truck right now as we're doing our recording. But hey, it's part of the
progress.
It's
progress.
But it's part of this is a live conversation between a couple of people as they
beat the back of a truck out and get the dirt out of it.
They're doing something back there. But I'm going to leave that in there.
That's fine.
All right. What else? Oh, the one thing I did want you to show, I wanted to show you the smaller call you made for.
Oh, yeah. So one of my cousins, his grandson, he has a little, he's a little dude. He's youth, and he wants him to learn and have something to learn on. So his hands aren't quite as big as ours. And so we decided to make him a small little call. I made it out of Bodoc. And here's the striker we made for it. We made him a little custom striker.
Okay. I noticed it's not as large on the. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And it's a good sounding call. And especially for him to learn on.
Yeah.
And it's something he can always have, that his granddaddy had me build, I guess you'd say.
Well, that's great. I mean, and now he has his first custom call.
First custom call, yeah.
So
he may be addicted.
Yeah.
Because some people, it's all about collecting.
But also,
people want to collect
that's
stuff.
going to be something that his grandpa made for him, his granddaddy gave him, and now.
So on.
Right. And that call will probably never leave him. He's going to have it forever. And he's going to probably pass it to his son when he's small, when he's little, and then his son to his. And I mean, until they wear it out. But
it's all about, what's the word I'm looking for? Continuing the tradition of things.
Yes.
Tradition
passing on the tradition to the next generation.
Yeah, because I remember being young, learning to call. Anybody that knew how to do it didn't really want to show me how to. They won't take time to show me how to call. So I'm self-taught. I mean, as in playing a guitar too. I had a granddad that played a guitar, and he bought me a guitar, and he spent a little time showing me. But he wasn't really just showing me everything. He couldn't spend every minute with me. But so as I was younger and learning to call, you'd have some people that, man, you sound like crap, and putting you down, put down. And it would make you feel bad enough. You'd say like, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And people don't talk about that kind of stuff, but it happens. It still happens today.
Oh, yeah.
And kids get their feelings hurt.
And then they're out of it because they think.
And some of us as adults, we're still kids inside.
Yeah.
We all have feelings.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it stings when certain people say certain things, but I was always raised, tough it up.
Yeah. I mean, the only way you can get better at it actually is just practice it, play with it, mess with it, and just keep going with it. I mean, yeah, when I put one of these in my mouth the first time, oh my God, it was terrible.
Yeah,
I
horrible.
mean, I couldn't make sounds. I could barely make squeaks.
Oh,
you know,
I
and
throwed them down and decided I was going to do something,
Yeah.
different call.
then after a while, spend a little time with it, making little calls,
Yep.
listening to other callers. You know, now we have YouTube and all that. You can listen to other people
yeah.
call.
Or
And
live footage of a turkey.
an
live-
actual turkey.
Yeah.
Have you seen that CD?
Uh-uh.
They had a CD out that was all live turkey, making conversation back and forth, and you would listen to it and mimic them. I don't know who put it out,
I've seen that CD.
but yeah, I had a CD that was. It came with a bunch of calls, and it was try to mimic what
Yeah.
they're doing. And
That's a
and it
good
was
way to
pretty,
learn.
It was actually pretty fun, and on long road trips or something like that, it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of it made the miles pass by.
And the calls, a lot of people, they get them and they're like, well, I don't know how to call. What does these calls mean? And of course, nowadays we can look it up and see,
Yeah.
see what that a yelp saying, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah.
A cluck is just their content, or look. They're saying look,
Yeah.
look,
Feeding purr.
feeding purrs.
Yeah.
And then when they're yelping loud or
Mm-hmm.
cutting, they're excited hens. And we do it backwards. I don't know, a lot of people don't know that we do it backwards in nature, that gobblers gobble to attract hens.
Right.
It's not supposed to be hens yelping to attract gobblers.
Right.
Because gobblers will gobble on the limb. Hens are supposed to fly down, gravitate toward them.
Yep.
They fly down, do their breeding, and then go on about their day. And they hang with them, And on through, when the hens start nesting, that's when your gobblers start getting off by themselves. Or midday, gobblers, you hear people say, I can kill them in the middle of the day. If you can get one to gobble in the middle of the day, usually you can kill him.
Yeah.
Because he's lonely. And what has happened, he's sitting there strutting after he's bred all these hens, and he's going around strutting, and all of a sudden, he's standing there and there's no hens. So he goes to look for them.
Yep.
And that's where he's going, throwing out gobbles, and those turkeys usually,
You can get them going.
yeah.
Where can we find you at?
Well, you can find me at on Facebook, Fiveash Calls, Justin Fiveash on Facebook. I just do my calls on
Yep.
my Facebook page.
And you're on TikTok
I'm on TikTok as
a
Justin.
little bit.
What is it? I don't even remember what my thing is. I think
Justin
it's
Fiveash.
Justin Fiveash at 84
Yep.
or whatever. I do have an Instagram, but I'm sure usually everything I've got my
Okay.
name.
All right.
Justin Fiveash.
So just a
you
little
look me
search
up.
and you should be able to dig it up.
Yep. No
All right.
problem.
Anything else you want to pass on? Anything you need to say?
I'm good.
All right.
I'd like
Justin?
to come back sometime.
Absolutely. It was good to have you.
Thank you.
Glad to have him here. Glad to have him here at Second Amendment. We do offer his calls right out here in the store. So if it's something,
And if you need to get with me about a custom call, everybody up here knows me.
yeah, I mean, we know how to get a hold of him. If there's something you want done specifically.
Oh, and I want to put this in. So I can do the picture soundboard. Some people like to put a picture of, like, maybe me and my dad killed a bird together.
Yep.
I can do those. That's custom.
All right.
They just get with me, message me on Facebook or
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're fully customized. You can do
Yeah, I
pretty
can
much
do
a lot of
anybody's picture, and then I try to just pick a wood. I don't really like say, well, tell me what wood you want, because somebody comes to me and says, well, I want snake wood.
Yeah.
Well, you know how much snake wood costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get into stuff like that, I just kind of recommend, hey, I can make it out of this, or I can make it out of that.
Okay.
Give them a couple options, but
Yeah.
I can put a picture in or whatever.
All right.
And now I've got to where I can do any kind of
Yeah.
laser.
Now with the new laser engraving, you can do any
Just
kind of
about
etching
anything.
and all.
I'm learning it, so it's a learning.
Oh yeah. So yeah, something difficult would be fun because then you got to learn a little bit
Got to
more.
learn more.
Other than that, it was great talking to you.
Enjoyed it.
We'll have you back. We got a lot more stuff going
yeah.
on,
I
and
feel,
especially
I feel like it's going to grow.
especially if we get that skeet thrower going.
Oh yes.
Wait till you guys
We'll
see
do some
that. That
shooting.
skeet thrower is amazing.
We need to get somebody up there to talk about it.
Yeah, that's coming up shortly, probably.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So thanks for joining us, and as always, hunt safe.